Beyond the Gate spoilers tease that Andre is thrust into a fierce love triangle, caught between two passionate women who both claim his heart. On one side is Dani, whose raw sensuality and confident assuredness make Andre unable to resist her physical allure. Her intensity in bed is compelling, addictive even, and when they're together he feels a volcanic chemistry he can't deny. On the other side is Ashley, whose innocence and fresh perspective captivate Andre in a completely different way. Her sweetness, her laugh, her warmth provide a contrast to Dani's fire, and they awaken a tenderness in him he didn't expect to find. From the onset, Andre is consumed by internal conflict, cannot escape his feelings for Dani, yet he's equally entranced by Ashley's sincerity and gentle light. He never anticipated the emotional minefield he stumbled into, but now every moment, every glance, every whisper threatens to push him into choosing, and he just can't. Dani is painfully aware of both her passion for Andre and the growing bond he shares with Ashley. She knows he is pursuing Ashley, even as he continues to sleep with her. She makes a bold declaration, "You're not going to lose me that easily." She wagers that Andre will tire of Ashley soon, calling Ashley bland, and implying that only someone with Dani's intensity can truly satisfy him. With jealousy simmering in her voice, Dani confronts the imbalance. "You're so dangerous for Ashley. You'll hurt her." Andre, shocked, swears that he and Ashley are just friends. But later, when Ashley shows up unannounced at his house the next day, everything changes, lines blur, defenses crumble. Their connection deepens beyond casual friendship, and the emotional fallout begins. From Ashley's side, the situation is bewildering and sweet. She reciprocates Andre's attraction emotionally, drawn by his kindness and charisma. She flirts with the idea of being more than just an occasional presence in his life. Meanwhile, Ashley's mother, Jan, notices the budding romance and offers her daughter heartfelt reflections. She encourages Ashley to explore her feelings for Andre, though she's understandably cautious. Jan is a single mother who has weathered heartbreak and built her life anew, and she admires Ashley's emotional vulnerability even as she worries about heartbreak. She teases gently that Ashley reminds her of a heroine in a novel, someone who touches others, stirs their lives, then moves on, leaving a little beauty in the wake. As Ashley describes her dream, perhaps becoming a traveling nurse who could accompany Andre wherever his career might lead, Jan listens warmly. She sees echoes of her younger self in Ashley's strength and compassion. When Ashley hesitates and asks about her father, Jan grows quiet, choosing not to reveal the full story. She senses that now is not the time for Ashley to unearth complicated secrets. Jan is content with the life she has and isn't eager to drag her daughter into past hurts. Meanwhile, the emotional stakes intensify when uncertainty begins to crystallize into crisis. One of these women might be about to tell Andre she's pregnant. Either Dani or Ashley, and perhaps both, carry a bombshell that will force Andre to finally make a devastating choice. He's unprepared for fatherhood. He's terrified of hurting both women and failing to choose the right path. The pressure builds overnight. His world, once simple between hospital shifts and quiet evenings, becomes riddled with text messages, missed calls, and stolen moments. The internal monologue of Andre grows almost unbearable. He feels torn between Dani's lustful confidence and Ashley's warm sincerity. He keeps replaying Dani's words, "I will beat Ashley and win you." He recalls Ashley's soft laughter, her shy suggestion of traveling together. Both pull him in different directions. He tries to remain neutral, but neutrality is impossible. The tension erupts when Dani storms into his apartment one morning, accusing him of flirting too openly with Ashley. She brandishes a test and early pregnancy strip and announces she'll be a mother, and Andre will be a father. Shock jolts him as he realizes what this means, a lifetime commitment he never intended. Even as Dani's victory dance looms, whispers spread in hospital gossip about Andre's undisclosed personal entanglements and potential fatherhood scandal. His colleagues notice his distracted gaze. His supervisor calls him in. "Your focus has slipped." Family matters are drawing too much attention. Simultaneously, Ashley receives Jan's cautious blessing. If you care for someone, risk the heartbreak. But protect your heart. Ashley decides she needs clarity before making any confession, especially after witnessing Dani's dramatic appearance with a test. She confronts Andre over coffee, her voice trembling. Is she pregnant? Are you going to be a father? Andre stumbles. He doesn't know how to respond. He loves Ashley, but he's on the verge of being bound to a child with Dani. The baby isn't necessarily Dani's, or it could be, but uncertainty hangs in the air. All the while, Dani insists she's carrying his child, leveraging the test to tie him down. She believes Ashley will crumble once she sees the proof. But Andre protests. He urges her to take a medical confirmation. He's torn. The physical intimacy, the responsibility, everything converges in this single crisis. Is he ready to be a dad? Has he earned that role? Dani refuses medical confirmation for days, demanding Andre accept her word and assume responsibility. This escalation pressures him. The hospital gossip intensifies. Ted's predecessor notes his wavering composure, hinting Andre's problem will soon impact his professional fate if it isn't resolved. Inside his mind, Andre scrambles, seeking advice from Jan's gentle wisdom and from Dani's bold ultimatum. He's stuck between two futures: reckless passion with a possible baby or tender possibility with Ashley, but maybe now he's too late to choose. This entire emotional tension sets the stage for a catastrophic misstep, one that Andre never sees coming. A medical slip, a mistyped email, a message not meant for the wrong person. That small error will change everything. Ashley walked out of the cafe in silence, her fingers still trembling from the way Andre had hesitated. He couldn't say it. He couldn't look her in the eye and deny it. Dani might be pregnant, and even if Ashley wanted to believe it wasn't true, the fear in Andre's voice had already said enough. He wasn't just overwhelmed. He was cornered. And maybe, she thought bitterly, he deserved to be. But what did that mean for her? Jan noticed the change as soon as Ashley returned home. Her daughter looked older, shoulders weighed down, eyes distant. There was no rant, no tears. Just quiet. Jan didn't push. She brought a warm mug of tea to the kitchen table and simply asked, "You want to talk?" Ashley didn't answer. But later that night, as rain tapped the windows and silence blanketed the house, she whispered, "I think he's going to be a father." Jan exhaled slowly, like she'd known it all along. Ashley's heartbreak reminded her too much of herself years ago, believing in a man who didn't have the courage to choose, waiting for love to become clarity. And now, history seemed to repeat. She sat beside Ashley on the bed and said softly, "Just because something starts beautiful doesn't mean it ends that way. But it doesn't mean it wasn't real." Ashley didn't respond. Across town, Dani sat cross-legged in her dimly lit apartment, staring at the unopened test on her kitchen counter. She hadn't taken another one. She'd shown Andre the first strip and let him draw his own conclusions. She knew exactly how to time the moment, how to cry just enough to tip his panic into obligation. It wasn't about love anymore. It was about winning. She couldn't let Ashley take him, not now, not after all the months of heat, of secrets, of whispered promises made in the dark. Dani wanted Andre like a war trophy, not a partner. But something in her was starting to fray. She kept replaying their last night together, the way he looked at her afterward, distant, as if already gone. When he kissed her shoulder, it didn't feel like desire anymore. It felt like duty. And Dani, for all her fire and fury, knew what it meant when a man kissed you because he had to. That kind of kiss always came before a goodbye. Still, she didn't back down. The next morning, she texted Andre, "We need to talk. I want to see a doctor. You should come." She knew what she was doing. It was a test. Not for the baby, for him. Andre didn't reply. Instead, he sat in his apartment, staring at his phone, the weight of both women pulling him in opposite directions. Ashley had looked at him like he was a liar. And maybe he was. Not because of what he said, but because of what he didn't. He hadn't been honest. He hadn't told her that Dani had already been in his bed the night before they kissed for the first time. He hadn't told her that even when he held Ashley, he still dreamt about Dani's mouth, her scent, the way she made him feel invincible. But what terrified him most wasn't the possibility of fatherhood. It was the possibility of losing them both. Andre finally replied to Dani with a short message, "I'll come." But his decision wasn't just about the test. He needed answer about the baby, yes, but also about himself. About what kind of man he really was. At the clinic, the nurse smiled politely. Dani fidgeted, refusing to meet Andre's eyes. She handed over the paperwork with feigned confidence, but her palms were clammy. When the doctor finally entered with the results, Dani braced herself. "You're not pregnant," the doctor said gently. The silence that followed was suffocating. Andre stared at the floor. Dani didn't move. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just blinked once, slowly, and said nothing. The shame rolled over her in waves, not because the test was negative, but because her lie had finally evaporated in front of the one man she didn't want to lose. She didn't expect him to speak, but he did. "Why?" he asked. His voice wasn't angry. It was sad. And that made it worse. She opened her mouth to defend herself, but no words came. Finally, she whispered, "Because I knew I was losing you." Andre left without another word. That night, he drove to Jan's house. It was raining again, just like the day Ashley had asked him if he was going to be a father. Poetic, almost. He stood in front of their door, soaked and still. Jan answered. Her expression didn't change. "She's not here," she said. He nodded. "Can I talk to you anyway?" Jan let him in. They sat at the kitchen table again, but this time no tea. Just truth. Andre confessed everything. The affair with Dani. The lie about the pregnancy. The panic. The cowardice. Jan didn't react. She just listened. When he finished, he asked, "Do I even deserve a chance to make it right?" Jan looked at him carefully. "You don't deserve her," she said. "But you do deserve the chance to grow up. And she deserves the truth." The next day, Andre found Ashley at the hospital cafeteria, taking a break from her shift. She looked surprised to see him but not angry. Just tired. He sat across from her, nervous, vulnerable. "There's no baby," he said first. Ashley nodded. She'd suspected as much. "I lied to you," he said. "Not with words, but with silence. With the way I let things stay blurry. I kept you close even when I hadn't let her go. That wasn't fair." She folded her hands. "So what now?" "I don't know," he admitted. "But I'm not going to run. I'm not going to lie again." Ashley looked at him for a long time. Then she said quietly, "I can't be someone you choose by default. If you're here because you lost her, that's not love." "I'm here," Andre said, "because I finally saw what I couldn't see before. And I don't expect you to forgive me. But I'd rather spend every day earning your trust than pretending with someone else." She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. But she didn't walk away either. And sometimes, that's where healing starts. Weeks passed. Dani moved out of the city, choosing silence over drama. Andre took a leave from the hospital and started therapy. Jan continued writing in the evenings, her own memories slowly turning into pages of a book. And Ashley? She waited not for Andre to become perfect, but for him to become honest. And slowly he did. No dramatic reunion. No fairy tale fix. Just two people meeting again, a little older, a little wiser, on ground that felt real this time. Because love isn't always fireworks. Sometimes, it's choosing the hard road and walking it together. 6 months later, the city felt quieter. Not because the noise had stopped, but because everyone involved had finally chosen silence over chaos. The storm had passed, and in its place was a strange, steady calm, one that comes only after the kind of emotional wreckage that forces people to change. Andre had returned to the hospital, not as the man who once floated through lives with charm and easy smiles, but as someone more grounded. He walked differently now. No headphones in his ears, no late-night disappearances. He was deliberate. Focused. Some of the younger staff whispered that heartbreak had humbled him. Others said Ashley had reined him in. The truth was somewhere in between. Dani had disappeared completely. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't leave a note. One day she was just gone. Word had it she'd taken a job at a private clinic in Mexico. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere far from the people who reminded her of the lie she told, and the love she didn't know how to lose. The fire in her had burned so hot, it left nothing in its wake but ash. And maybe, in a different life, she would have been enough. But that wasn't this life. Ashley, meanwhile, had taken her own space. After everything that happened, she asked to be transferred to another hospital unit for a few months, citing the need for distance not from Andre, but from the pressure of everyone's eyes. She and Andre didn't rush back into anything. They saw each other occasionally, kept their conversations light, careful. She was the one who set the rules. If this becomes real, it has to start from respect, she told him once, watching him across a park bench in early spring. No more halfway. And Andre had nodded, fully aware that this time, love would not let him coast. Jan, watching from the outside, kept her distance. She never pushed, never interfered. Her daughter was growing, stumbling, learning to heal on her own. Jan had spent enough of her life protecting Ashley from pain. Now she trusted her to find the shape of her own heart. But it didn't stop her from worrying. She knew the cost of giving your whole heart to someone still finding theirs. Then came the night that changed everything again. Ashley had just come off a double shift. It was past midnight and her feet ached. She grabbed her coat and made her way out of the hospital, planning to walk the few blocks home. But as she stepped into the cool air, she saw Andre leaning against a light post, holding a small envelope in his hand. She smiled faintly. "Stalking me now?" He shook his head. "Waiting. For what?" "For the right time." She raised an eyebrow. "And this is it?" Andre held out the envelope. "Open it." Inside was a photograph. Old. Faded. A young man smiling, wild-eyed, full of life, standing beside a woman who looked uncannily like Ashley. It took her a second to realize what she was seeing. "My dad." Andre nodded. "Jan didn't tell you. But I thought you deserved to know." Ashley stared at the photo. Her heart thudded once, loud and confused. "How did you?" "She told me everything. Months ago. One night when you were on shift. Said if I ever wanted to prove I could take care of something fragile, I should start by telling the truth." Ashley said nothing. Her fingers tightened on the edge of the picture. "He wasn't a bad man," Andre continued softly. "He just wasn't ready. Kind of like me before." There was a long pause. Then Ashley said quietly, "I always wondered what it meant to grow up without knowing where you came from. And now? I think I'm more interested in where I'm going." Andre stepped closer. "With me?" Ashley looked up at him. "Maybe. But only if you're really ready to stop running." Andre didn't promise her anything grand. No rings. No speeches. Just his presence. And this time, that was enough. In the months that followed, their relationship became something slow, intentional. No declarations. No secret nights. Just steady, honest moments. Ashley kept working. Andre kept showing up. They argued, laughed, sometimes went days without speaking. But when they did, it mattered. Jen watched from her kitchen window as they pulled up one evening, Ashley with a grocery bag, Andre holding her hand. They looked normal. Not perfect. Not dramatic. Just two people trying. And maybe that's all it ever really takes. The final chapter didn't come with a dramatic twist. There was no emergency, no betrayal, no final ultimatum. There was only life, messy, imperfect, and deeply human. Ashley took a job offer to be a traveling nurse the following fall. She asked Andre if he'd join her. He smiled and said, "Let's see where the road goes." And for the first time, Ashley didn't feel like she was chasing someone. She felt like they were walking beside each other at the same pace, in the same direction. Not a fairy tale. Something better. Something real.